And now, you're tuned in to RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's RBLR Sports.
Welcome into RBLR Sports. My name is Musaab, and what a finish for our Buccaneers. A rather fun and entertaining Sunday, and I'm sure it was all sunshine and rainbows towards the end. And here's to a fun episode tonight with my partner in crime, the one and only Stephan. How are we doing this fine evening?
We're doing great. We're doing great. Having a glass of wine, enjoying the fact that we're back in the playoffs, and first home game in Tampa in 14 years. So it should be a good one. I'm excited.
Oh, I'm excited as well. Maybe a little bit more excited. I don't know, but I will say this, listeners, if you are as excited as we are, if you could do us a favor real quick, and however you're listening to this, whether it be YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, there's probably a follow button down there, a like button, subscribe button, but also we are on social media platforms at RBLR Sports. All right. Stephan, the chapter of the Buccaneers regular season is over. All right. Now we're kind of in the, I guess, little sequel section right now, aka the postseason. But, kind of quick thoughts. You woke up Monday morning. I know you were probably feeling amazing with a win like that. And, you probably walked in the office and someone asked you, well, overall thoughts. Hey, Stephan, shout out to your Bucs. You made it to the playoffs. But, hey, how do you do against the Panthers in round two?
So first and foremost, I mean, it was a good win at home, and we also got to thank the 49ers for pulling through there so we could be the number 2 seed. So appreciate that. But that game was closer than the score showed. I thought, and some things that caught my eye was that slow start on defense, Musaab, especially against the run, man. We can't be having that. But hey, things that I did love, Mike Evans and Tom Brady connection looking great going into the playoffs. It looks like they're on the same page, which I love. I mean, Mike was able to, keep that streak going, and Tom and Gronk look unbelievable, like they always do. So it was nice to see, Tom feeding those two guys who are going to be very important here moving down the stretch. But that was pretty much, for me it. How about yourself?
Well, for me, I mean, I similar thoughts from the beginning of the game. I mean, the Panthers absolutely dominated the opening quarter of play, and then I mean, from there on out, I mean, the first quarter it was theirs. They had a lot of advantage over us, but the thing is, all it really led to was just a 7-0 lead, which at first kind of raised my eyebrows, but a few minutes later we caught up, and then we took the lead and we ran with it. And at least, my kind of big thing that I got out from it was just with everything we've been dealing with. I don't think that the Panthers are completely horrible. What they're like, what 5-0 or 5-11 or something like that. So, you know, for me, the fact that we were able to run away with that, continue to dominate, especially in the second half, it made me feel good knowing that hey, we're gonna finish real strong, and everyone's looking really good. At least those who are playing, everyone is looking really good. Things are working out real well. Interesting little kind of beginning, but I mean, just minus that, the game was ours. We took control of it the whole time, and the best part was just that knowing, hey, we're already locked in the playoffs. Obviously, we're kind of looking at what seed exactly will we be at, but minus that fact, just knowing we're in the playoffs, Stefan, and then seeing in the second half that we're kind of just running over these Panthers, I was feeling real good. And I mean, everyone went off. Shout out to all of our depth pieces as well who kind of stepped up. I mean, I want Steph, I just want to make a quick little shout out again. I gave a shout out to him last week, but Anthony Nelson, I just want to say, I mean, this is his career high. He racked up his fifth of the season, his sack. So, I mean, shout out to him. These small things that I was kind of noticing during the game, just because we were already winning by so much. Those kind of small things, they made me happy and stuff like that. So that's really about it for me. But I mean, anything else for you? Overall remarks? Is there anything, I guess, maybe from that game that has any relevance towards this postseason for our Buccaneers?
Uh, Probably not. Besides getting that number 2 seed, Musab, I think that was a huge deal. It gives you the opportunity to host 2 home games, which makes your life a little bit easier now that there's fans in the stands. So I would say that was probably the most important to get the W and become 49er fans there for a few seconds and give us that number 2 seed, and that's good with me. That's about it, Musab.
Yeah, it was pretty straightforward. I think most Buck fans, including us, were already feeling very relaxed, and not that we had any disregard for the game, but I mean, just knowing that we're locked in, and we're the only thing that we're kind of waiting on is just the seed. Uh, if that's the only issue that, or the only thought in my head, on Sunday, then I'm fine with it, and I guess maybe that's why I had a really nice, pleasant Sunday. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe something that kind of maybe made you happy. A little quick RBLR moment.
Yeah, I gotta go with he's my guy, and I love him. That catch that gave Mike, eight consecutive seasons to start a career with 1,000 yards. Musaab, that really gave me chills. Just even to be there in front of the home crowd, he got the standing ovation he deserved. Everyone took a deep breath because he took a hit there, and it took him a little bit to get up. But he got the standing ovation he deserves, and the record continues. And for all those haters, of Mike Evans, um, forget that he did do it in 16 games, Musab, because he didn't play one game. So, record still holds, and I hope he's able to keep doing it here in the Bay. I loved it. How about yourself?
Oh, I mean, oh yeah, I was real happy to see that. Stefan, I feel like there's still some haters out there on Mike Evans thinking that he's not amazing or he's not a phenomenal player, but oh well, it is what it is. But I mean, after that catch, I mean, what, 8 consecutive seasons, 1,000 plus yards. I mean, what else more do you want from a man like that? But as much as he made me happy, I also want to say that seeing Scooter or Scotty Scooter Miller's touchdown, that was my RBLR moment. And I only say that because I just, overall, I just haven't been seeing super, like, a ton of action from him, and seeing a run like that, you're already winning, and oh my God, oh snap. I guess maybe you're already thinking, oh, okay, whoopty, we already won. And then, oh, Gabbert's in the game. And then, boom, a little handoff or a little toss to Scooter. And then, there he goes to the touchdown. And that's really about it. And a little quick shout out to Scooter, but also a little quick shout out to our RBLR shop because we actually have made T-shirts in honor of Scotty Miller's touchdown. So, yeah, make sure to hit up shop.rblrsports.com and you can check out that design and along with other designs we've cooked up as well. So, I mean, listen, Stephen, that was my RBLR moment. It was just, kind of really, really got me fired up. And that's really about it for me. I mean, there was, for me, I've said this throughout the whole season, Stefan, the sunshine and rainbows. And if there was any game, or I guess maybe the last 2 quarters, it was just sunshine and rainbows. I don't really have that many things that I really want to nitpick, or honestly, I can't even think of any from the top of my head. What about you, Stefan? Is there kind of any last remarks? Because, the vibe I'm getting is just that, hey, listen, this was the game we were expecting. It was supposed to be a blowout. This is something we predicted. And that's exactly what happened.
I'm right there with you. I think it's time to move on to the next one and the big one, the one everyone's expecting to. So we want to touch on the before we deep dive there. Musab, go down the injuries here. This list is becoming smaller, Musab. So I'll let you go through it. I'm pretty pumped to see this become a little bit smaller.
Right on. I mean, yeah, listen, so what we know right now is this, for as of today and this past week, just been doing some walkthroughs, and the only players who haven't practiced are Cyril Grayson, who is currently doubtful for the game. We got Ronald Jones doubtful for the game, and then Anthony Nelson, my little star out there. He is dealing with an ankle injury, but he is hopeful for Sunday. And along with those, as we know, Chris Godwin out for the year, but we got Richard Sherman placed on IR, but done for the year. Shaq Barrett, Shaq Attack is activated from the COVID list. And we got some returners to practice, that being Levante David, Giovanni Bernard, and the one and only playoff regular season Leonard Fournette. All right, and I also will say that based on what we've been told and based on what has been kind of told the public is that they're trending in the right direction. So stay optimistic, fans. And JPP healthier than he would have been if he played the last 3 weeks. So looks like at least, hey, listen, looks, he got his rest time. He's taking it easy, and I think he's ready to go. Listen, this is the time more than ever. So, and the last one we have right now is Jamel Dean. currently questionable. But as of right now, kind of we're feeling optimistic as of right now. Only so much we know about him right now. So those are the injuries. But Stefan, feel free to add on if I'm missing anything, or if you kind of want to maybe dig deep on any of these, or kind of want to talk about how any of these affect our upcoming game against the Eagles.
Yeah, no, good job on giving those updates there. I think that, most of us are really happy to see that Levante, Gio, and Fournette looks like they're going to be a go. From what I've read, it seems like Gio and Fournette are definitely a go for the game. Levante's still a little bit more questionable than the other two. And I think, as we move on here to our next segments for key matchups, we'll talk a little bit about it. But I think we need Levante Musa big time because we're going against a movable QB, but that being said, having Shaq and JPP back, I hope they're beasting like they did last year in the playoffs, and that would be huge for us if we could go like if we can get everyone but Chris Godwin, Musab, obviously because unfortunately he's out for the year, and now Sherman is as well. But besides that, if we get everyone else, Musab, I like our chances.
I like him as well. Yeah, I think as long as the air guys are not really pushing it too much. I mean, even guys like Grayson and Jones and Nelson, I'm always rooting for as well. But obviously, listen, Levante David and Fournette, those are the big names out there, and I'm sure that's making everyone happy that they're trending in the right direction. So I'm feeling good, and yeah, obviously hoping for the best, and at least hoping that, hey, listen, if we succeed in this game against the Eagles, then I'm hoping that at least this injury list gets shorter and shorter, game by game, as many games as we have. So, I mean, that's really all it for me for the injuries. So regarding those injuries, but also kind of regarding this upcoming game with the Eagles, Stefan, I mean, maybe overall thoughts. How do we feel? And then, we can kind of dig deep on maybe the key matchups or the key things that we need to do to win this game.
Yeah, and overall thoughts. I mean, the Eagles are a good team. That they have a solid defensive line. They're a little bit young in the back end in the defense, from what I've read and kind of looked a little bit to our last game that we played. Obviously, a young quarterback and a stud young receiver, and they can really run the ball, Musab. So that's kind of the overview from the preview. From the Eagles depth chart wise. We can certainly start diving into a lot of these matchups. How about we start with Mike Evans versus their top corner Darius Slay? Any thoughts? Any concerns? Mike is definitely going to be drawing their best corner here, Musab.
Yeah, I guess the only fear is, I guess, maybe just the pressure that he has on him, especially with such an amazing career he's had so far. I mean, listen, like 8 consecutive years with 1,000 yards. He's coming into the postseason with that. Obviously, all eyes are on him. Obviously, now with Godwin being out, obviously he's kind of like he's definitely the leader. Obviously, and with AB gone too, so he's the leader of the pack with the wide receiver core. And I just hope it doesn't become a little too overwhelming for him, or I hope maybe the Eagles don't have a lot of tricks up their sleeves for Mike Evans or between Slayton and Mike Evans. So I mean, that's really about it for me. I guess it's just something I'll have to see. I mean, he's done a great job in the past, or even the last time they played against the Eagles, it was pretty solid or pretty good. So at least the way I see it, offensively, and that includes, the kind of Brady Evans connection. That's something I think a lot of people are going to be focusing on. So unfortunately, it's kind of like the elephant in the room. Obviously, everyone's going to be aware of it. The Eagles are already planning on that and thinking, okay, well, how can we stop not just any kind of receiver, but this guy's, first of all, he's amazing, he's phenomenal, and he's dominant, he's aggressive, and he's big, Imagine trying to stop a guy like that, who's already on fire. So if he gets warmed up and he's looking real good, I don't see why, the Eagles will be able to stop him. But it all really comes down to how we start. If it's a rough start and it's kind of getting to Mike Evans' head, then hoping that maybe someone else steps up to the plate. But for me, I guess this is maybe we'll have to see how it works out. What do you think, Stefan?
I agree with most of you said there. I think it's first of all, it's one of the key matchups on the opposite side of the ball. That's their stud corner. This is our best receiver. I still think even when everyone else is healthy, he's our best. But to me, Musa, the most interesting part will be to see if Slay is going to travel with him. If we put him in the slot, is he going to get him? If he goes to the other side, if he's going to get him, just because The Eagles tend to play more zone. So, sort of like nothing cheap, nothing deep kind of style, that two shell. So I believe if he doesn't travel with him, Musab, and we start moving Mike as we normally do in these sort of big games into the slot or the left side instead of the right side, I think he'll be able to feast. I think he'll be able to perform as we expect him to. That being said, Musab, I take Mike pretty much against every corner in the NFL except Lattimore. So I like our odds on this one. So we can move on to kind of our next big matchup here. What are your thoughts on our O line versus their D line? Javon Hargrave and Fletcher Cox. We know what he represents, and Javon Hargrave's had a great year. But our offensive line has had a good year too. So I kind of wanted to grasp where you at with this one.
Yeah, this is going to be important because the only thing I'm thinking of is, sure, I guess their D line's looking good. Well, our O line is hot. When they play well, we are dominant. And in fact, the last time we actually played the Eagles, Tom Brady kept a clean jersey the whole time. The only time, that Tom Brady gets sacked a bunch of times and he averaged 3 per game was during our 4 losses. So it just makes me think, well, whenever our O-line is looking good along with the other guys as well, but the O-line Brady running back chemistry needs to be there for sure, and protection needs to be there because sometimes I feel like, well, I'll say this, that Saints game, that's kind of the prime example of what I do not, or I think everyone does not want to see from our Buccaneers. It just, we got played around, and because of that, Tom Brady got played around. He was thrown off. He felt pressured. He was only able to do so much based on the situations and all the pressure that was coming at him. So that's the only fear I have is I just want to make sure our O line stays hot and the chemistry's there. The important thing is just the chemistry and working well, but also just obviously doing the job, which is making sure we protect Tom Brady and create some holes as well for our running back. So it's going to be interesting to see. But my only issue is I just hope that they don't kind of take advantage of our issues. This is just going to be more down to we know what we need to do, Stefan. It's just can we continue to do what we've been doing as such a hot and dominant team that we are. Now, obviously, we have some losses and we're not perfect, but overall, we are we have a dominant O line, and they should be able to do their job. And I don't know. I mean, that's really about it for me. They have listen, they got some threats as well, okay, but it's not like anyone I'm thinking of big time. I guess maybe we're thinking of Hargrave and Josh Sweat, who are the 2 leaders in the sacks on their team, and
Fletcher
DN and
Cox.
defensive, yeah, Fletcher Cox as well. Can't forget about him. So, uh, those kind of guys, obviously going to be all eyes on them when it comes to just making sure we're protecting Tom Brady and allowing him to have as much as time as well. So it's going to be a battle, but I'm not too worried just because, I mean, the performance from the Eagles, listen, they made it to the playoffs, but I really don't see this being an issue. There's a lot of things that I feel like should not be an issue. Now, if it pops up and, these kind of things happen, so be it. But this should not be an issue at all. Our O-line knows what they need to do. And, I mean, they've done a phenomenal job. We got a great lineup. We got Kappa, Jensen, Wirfs. We got what do you call Donovan Smith. We got him on Ali Marpet. So
Yep.
we got a nice core, and they've been phenomenal. They've done a great job. So I can't see why they can't do it again. And now, obviously, more than ever, this is the playoffs. Now, this is super important. It's one thing to kind of say, oh, it's okay. Maybe he's having a little bit of off game. Well, we can't afford those anymore. And I'm just hoping that our O line is aware of that.
I would agree, Musab. And especially, yeah, I'm right there with you 100%. I think in the entirety of the playoffs, if we're able to win this game, our boys are going to have, their hands full up front because all the teams that are left have great, good or great defensive lines. But if we can keep, especially at home, if we can keep Brady clean, we should be able to score, and be at our pace, which is normally 30 or more at home. And if we don't Musab, then this game's going to go down to the wire. That's kind of how I see it. So I would tend to agree with you there. The games that we've lost is we haven't been able to keep them from being on the ground. So very good point there. Another big matchup, Musab, that we can kick off here is Hurts versus our linebackers. Right. First and foremost, let's really hope Levante David can go because Musab last week we struggled a little bit against Sam Darnold with those RPOs and can't even run at the level that Hurts can, right? So the good thing is that we had Devin White and Kevin Minter kind of play that like last game. So when we played the Eagles, Levante didn't play that game. At least Minter and White should know what to expect. But this one scares me a little bit, Musaab. Your thoughts here? I mean, we got to be better here for this, or it's going to burn us.
Yes, it will. Now, you're obviously thinking this is his first playoff, so he's trying to, play phenomenally. But also, I mean, he is a very mobile quarterback, and I think these mobile quarterbacks really get to us sometimes. Even seeing Darnold run away a few times was kind of irking me a little bit. Like, oh my gosh, just get him already. These things are costly. Because what happens is, these mobile quarterbacks or these guys who are able to kind of keep on grinding a yard by yard, finding these little extra opportunities, even if that means that he doesn't run with it, maybe he runs an extra yard or two and just maybe does a little light toss. Well, they racked up a few yards because of that. They keep on grinding it out. They keep on exhausting our defense. That's what I hope doesn't happen. But with a player like Hurts, it's a possibility, and it's kind of scary to know that he's the leader of the team in rushing yards and obviously passing yards, being that he is the starter quarterback. So knowing that is a little concerning because you're thinking, well, if this guy really needs to rack up some yards, or if the Eagles really need to rack up some yards, then they have someone who can do some things if really needed be. So my only fear is I just hope that he doesn't kind of exhaust our defense. But as you said yourself, Stefan, we didn't have David last time, and it didn't seem like too much of an issue. Obviously, they caught up, which was a little interesting. But if listen, D. White and Mintner, they know what they need to do. Okay, they got a lot more experience than the last time we played them, especially Mintner as well. Kind of hopping in as well for David. So hoping for the best, and just praying that the mobility of Jalen Hurts does not kind of expose us too much. I know it's going to pop up here and there just naturally, but these kind of things, Stefan, are going to be extremely, extremely scary if it's going to be a close game or something like that, because that just happens sometimes. It doesn't even matter that, okay, so what, the guy doesn't have a beautiful arm and he's not chucking it all the way down the field all the time here and there. It's these players who keep grinding it out, who keep kind of exhausting us, kind of honestly kind of pissing us off. Like, oh my God, why can't we get this guy? Oh my gosh, oh, he's running it again, or oh man, how did he get away with that? I hope those things don't come in my head, and it's a possibility, but just praying that they don't. I mean, you got any remarks about Jalen Hurts and our linebackers?
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, it just scares me a little bit because Sam Darnold was able to do those RPOs kind of thing, and we know that Hurts lives out of this, especially when they establish a running game. It's going to be scary, but I think at the end of the day, if Levante can go, we're definitely going to shut him out. If he can't go, then we'll see what happens. But I would definitely have one of. It doesn't matter if it's Levante, Minter, or White. Someone's going to be kind of playing that spy position all day, or we're going to be in for a close ball game. So yeah, we're going to be up fine, but it's definitely something to keep our eyes out for. And moving on there to our key matchup and our last key matchup here that we've established, Musaab, and I think it's a good one. This is going to be a good one. We started with the kind of like their offense against our defense. So how about or one of their best offensive weapons, Devontae Smith versus our boy Carlton Davis? Any thoughts here on this?
Listen, as long as we're able to lock him up, then it shouldn't be an issue. I know, listen, I got a lot of love and respect for Carlton Davis. I know he knows what he needs to do. And I don't know, kind of the same situation as I guess Mike Evans. All eyes are on Evans, or the majority of the spotlight is going to be on Evans. So the majority of the spotlight's going to be on Devontae Smith. So I'm just thinking, well, as long as we're able to kind of contain him, then it shouldn't be an issue. It's just that maybe, I don't know, if maybe his buddies like Dallas Goddard or Quez Watkins, they help him out or whatever. Now that's another story. But regarding Smith and Davis, that little battle that they're gonna have, I'm rooting for Davis, and I think Davis is gonna win this. Now, obviously, I think Smith is gonna rack up yards here and there just naturally. I mean, he's a great player, all right, and it's just gonna happen naturally. But I hope he's contained, and I think we'll be able to contain him. I guess the interesting thing is I'm just thinking it's kind of small, and I'm hoping it's not extremely well. I'm actually another thing. I actually am hoping it is relevant or it does get to them, which is that listen, this is Hurt's first time, in the playoffs, and then same thing with Smith. So maybe they kind of have that little rookie scare in their head or whatever, or they got a lot of pressure, or who knows, maybe they ball out. I don't know, but um, it's just knowing Stefan, knowing that this is the playoffs, knowing that there's no more chances to mess around. This is, you win or you lose, and that's it. I don't see why we're gonna let Devontae Smith get to us. He's had a phenomenal season so far. But listen, he's only played the Bucs once, and I think we did a pretty solid job against him the first time. So I don't see why we can't do it again. And listen, once we limit him, then I mean, what are they going to do? Maybe they go to some other receivers here and there, but then they'll have to maybe transition towards the running game, which obviously, as you know, we're pretty darn good at. So I got a lot of high hopes for Carlton Davis. I don't see this being an issue. Now, Devontae Smith has already racked up almost over 1,000 yards. He's at about 916 right now. So great season so far. He is definitely a threat indeed, along with Hurts. I guess it's just these young guys being so mobile, and I guess also the Hurts Smith connection that they've had in the past at Bama, that kind of relationship, the chemistry between them two. It's kind of similar, I guess, to Gronk and Brady. I guess it's the poor man's Gronk and Brady, I guess, or it's the young man's, I guess, Gronk and Brady as well. So hopefully it's not a extremely kind of concerning little duo that they got there. And I don't know. Maybe we'll have to make some switches. So we have to make some adjustments. We've been doing that, and I think we'll be able to. I think we'll be fine. I don't know. I mean, what do you think? He is an amazing player, but I'm just thinking, Stefan. I mean, if we have him locked up, then what's gonna happen? It's just listen. I'm expecting like a Lattimore Evans battle. Shout out to Evans, but sometimes Lattimore gets to him, he gets contained, and Evan doesn't really shine out against Lattimore. So this is how I'm seeing, or this is what I'm hoping is no matter whatever happens, Smith is not going to be able to dominate against us.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think, excuse me, I think that Devontae Smith has had a great rookie campaign with almost, you said 1,000 yards, 5 tutties. That being said, I love our guy Carlton Davis. I think he's a top 5 corner in this league, Musaab. That's just my opinion. I would definitely have him traveling with Devontae the whole time. I don't care if they put Devontae in the slot outside. However, they're going to try to, he's a very good playmaker, so they're going to be moving him around. So I would just make sure Carlton's right there with him, and it should be a really, really good, fun matchup with two young footballs. I think who are both going to be stars in this league. But I would go after Hurts. I would hopefully we get a lead and get after Hurts, and then you get start playing 1-on-1, because I think Carlton can handle him 1-on-1 and can get after him. But Musab, the weather is calling for heavy rain, so we might not even see a lot of this, right? It might be a lot of running against our stout running defense. So we'll see how that goes. But that being said, Musab, let's move on here to kind of our next segment here. And for the playoffs, we could hopefully we win more than one game, and we can keep doing this as we go. But how about you go over your Musab's keys to victory here for this upcoming game on Sunday?
Absolutely. All right. Well, my first key to victory, that's going to have to be the good chemistry between the O-line, running back, and Brady. As I already mentioned that before, I think that's really important just because, I mean, the way we played against the Saints or just our bad games we've had, the chemistry is not there. There's some struggling here and there. The D-line or, the DBs, they get to us. So it's important that, we use all of our past experiences, especially the one we had against the Eagles, and make sure that we do a really well job. It's really important because um, Brady, listen, he's a strong guy, phenomenal, but because it's also playoff time now, Stefan, if he goes down, it's going to be very, very, very scary. And we can't afford to let that happen. So we need our O line to protect him at all costs. Okay. Listen, they did a great job last time we played them, so I don't see why we can't do it again. And also, we need to be able to create pockets. All right. If, as you said yourself, if it's going to be a rainy game, it's going to be kind of stormy and stuff like that, then yeah, it's going to be a little more run heavy. So creating holes as well is going to be important. And hoping that Lenny is ready, fired up, and he's looking like playoff Lenny, like the Lenny we know he is. So kind of that little trio, or actually, I guess between Brady, Lenny, or the other running backs, and the O line. That's going to be really important for me, just because, yeah, their defense is high, especially their D line. That it is definitely a threat. And if we let it affect us for whatever reason and it results in an injury, then we're in deep trouble. So it's really important that we kind of stick to the fundamentals. We don't try to do anything super kind of ballsy or anything like that. But listen, we got to play like how we have been playing. All right, we know what we need to do. And the good part is, listen, minus the DB situations or sometimes even the wide receivers, it's we have a solidified O line, Stefan. Obviously, the solidified quarterback, aka the legend, the goat, Tom Brady, and then obviously we got playoff Lenny back. So everything should be working well. The chemistry's already been there. They know exactly what they need to do. So it's not like this is the kind of first rodeo with all of them. So that's why I think it's really important. And listen, as long as we got good chemistry, I don't see why the Eagles defense will be able to stop us. What do you think?
Yeah, I would agree with you there. I think chemistry is one thing, but hopefully the chemistry is there, Musa, when we get someone like playoff Lenny back, and I'm not, I'm no fear in what Tom Brady can do. He is the GOAT for a reason, so I'm not concerned there. But or the O line, they play very well. But the running back now, we'll see how that works. Lenny hasn't played in a few weeks, so we'll see how much we even get to see from him. But um, you know, I would hope the chemistry is there because he played a good portion of the year. Um, yeah, that's really what I hope. I'm concerned about this because he hasn't played, but and if he doesn't perform or he doesn't feel like he's ready to go, Musaf, then we might be in some trouble because it doesn't look like Rojo's going. So we'll see how it goes. But either way, I'm excited to see playoff Lenny back out there. So that being said, I'll move on to one of my keys to victory here, Musab, is getting an early lead. I think this is huge, specifically in this game because they love to run that football. If we get that early lead for them, it's going to be tough for them to stick to that run game, Musab. And if you get that early lead, also you get the crowd into it, and then you have a young quarterback and a young coach having to make pressure decisions in a big time game. Like I said, to me, Musab, this is extremely important. I would consider, if we win the coin toss, getting the ball first and putting points on the board. So that's just me. Any thoughts from this one?
I think it's super important that we get a nice early lead because you never know what happens on later during the game, whether that be injuries or God knows whatever, especially with this weather that we ought to be having this Sunday. So yeah, I'm right there with you. We need to start off real hot, extremely dominant, even if that means we start out stronger than we do when we finish. It's just important because it's going to just turn out to be a little bit more of a mental game. Now, just imagine you're a rookie, aka like Hurts or Devontae Smith, and Tom Brady and the boys are taking off. They're dominating. They're getting to you. Well, you're watching on the sidelines and you're watching your defenses kind of get torn up here and there. It affects you, maybe kind of motivates you a little bit, but it kind of gets to your head a little bit as well. But I mean, yeah, it's simple as that. A team like ours, we have roller coaster games, and it's been one roller coaster of a season with all that's been going on, whether that be injuries or COVID. So making sure that we get an early lead, or just con- from the from the kickoff to the end, continuing to be dominant is going to be really important. We can't sag off. Not that we ever have really sagged off or anything like that, but we got to be a little bit more careful. We got to plan this out right. But I don't know. I mean, I'm obviously I'm not saying yes, completely play it safe, but it may take a little bit of a time. But we have to make sure that, okay, maybe, yeah, sure, our first drive maybe wasn't the best or whatever. Okay, maybe we racked up a field goal, but we got to make sure that no matter what happens in the first quarter, we got to be dominant on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. Just because we've been having this issue with the whole kind of, we don't play a whole full four quarters, and it's playoff time now. At first, I was thinking, whoop-de-doo, hey, we're still looking good or whatever. But now, I don't want to see none of that. I want to see all four quarters. I want them firing on all cylinders. And listen, ideally, I mean, I'm not. I want a chippy game. I want this to be interesting. I want guys like Devin White to get in their face or whatever, and as it should be. Really, that's really about it. So, yeah, getting an early lead, Stefan, is super, super important. Just because of who we are. Not that we're a kind of team to blow a lead, but you never know what happens, Stefan, especially with the conditions slash whether the off the field conditions and on the field conditions. It's going to be an interesting show for sure. So having a nice, comfy, safe lead will allow us to at least feel a little confident in ourselves.
I would agree. Yeah, I mean, it's important. We've been starting a little bit slow, so I'm hoping that we start as we're supposed to start. And like I said, I wouldn't even be mad if we take the coin toss and decide to kind of put the points on the board first. That would be something that I've been looking for. I got two more, Musaab, that I'll give you, and then you can rattle off yours. Your rest of keys to victory. That and again, these are things that we believe that we will do. If we do and we'll get this dove. So another one, after getting the early lead, Musaab, I think we got to make him throw the ball by stopping the running game. I mean, they're ranked eighth worst, only averaging 200 passing yards per game, but then they're ranked number one rushing the ball. So, if you get that early lead, Musaab, and you make Jalen Hurts throw the ball, I like our chances. And then again, the Bucs didn't finish first against the run, but they did finish third, only allowing 92 per game. And the Eagles are allowing 159, I believe, per game, Musab. So if we're able to keep them under 100, I mean, I believe we got a solid chance of winning this game. So I want to see Hurts. If I'm seeing Hurts throwing the ball, I believe that's a good thing. I don't know about you.
I'm right there with you, most definitely. Now, obviously, hoping that he doesn't have extra time to, move around here and there. That's the only thing I'm thinking of is okay, yeah, sure, we can make sure we stop the running game, but on top of that, can we make sure that we also put on a lot of pressure, as much as pressure as we can towards Hurt, because that's what's going to turn out to be. Listen, he's got a lot of experience, or not a lot of experience, but he's got a whole season of experience under his belt, playing with all kinds of teams. And ideally, I think he's been thinking about this. That listen, they got a real, the Buccaneers got a real hot kind of, run defense, and I may have to make something out of that, whether that be finding more time, or maybe moving around here and there, or maybe just running it by myself. So if that happens, obviously, yeah. Listen, we stopped the running game. I mean, how much is this guy going to run? Especially if we kind of get to him in the beginning, then he's going to be thinking, "Yikes, the running game's not looking good. They're kind of getting to me, so I can't kind of run away with it. So now what do I do?" Well, then maybe he's thinking, "All right, well, I guess maybe my next resort is going to be, just looking at Smith or anyone else." But with all these things happening, I mean, I don't see, yeah, why it's gonna work out. When you're the quarterback and you try one thing, oh nope, doesn't work. Oh, you try the other thing, oh, doesn't work. And then maybe you try to, you try those two or three things here and there as much as you can, and you're just realizing, ugh, this is not working. Then yeah, it's gonna get to them. So that's kind of how it's kind of what happened last game. Unfortunately, they still found some opportunities to catch up to us, but I thought we were very dominant last time we played them. And I think that now that it's also playoff football now, it's going to be a whole different kind of intensity. And ideally, I'm thinking that Jalen Hurts is feeling a little bit nervous right now against this game. I mean, he's going against the Bucs, the GOAT, the everything. We already beat him the first time, and in fact, I mean that win kind of, I'm sure it kind of fired them up because they're probably thinking, that was an interesting. Listen, we still got away with that win, but we definitely should have just kind of dominated as we were during most of the game. So, I mean, that's obviously a different story. But yeah, making Hurts throw the football by stopping their running backs, that's going to be really important. But on top of that, also making sure that we're not just completely focusing on the running back, also being aware that if we're going to be doing that, maybe Hurts has a second or two to make something happen. And again, we can't let that happen over and over again because they're going to start exhausting our defense. It's going to turn to a really vicious cycle. And with everything that's been going on with our defense, especially our DB unit, we can't let these Eagles kind of get to our guys.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, A lot of moving pieces, Musaab. There, it's interesting. So we'll see how it goes. But you stole a little bit of my thunder there. At the end, my last key to victory was the defensive line pressure has to get to Hurts, especially when he's throwing it. Now we have Shaq, JPP. Looking forward to seeing them back in playoff mode. And a fun fact here before I pass it over to hear your other keys to victory is every game that JPP has played in the playoffs, he's always won. He's 8-0, Musaab. How about we keep this going?
Oh, that sounds real nice. I did not know that. So maybe he's a good luck charm, huh?
That's what I'm hoping.
Well, he ain't. There's been times he hasn't been so lucky either, but that's okay. But oh yeah, I will say though, yeah, my last two key matchups or keys to victory has to be first of all, I've said this a few times, but I want to call this the Sue Vea little duo. Look, and Commandant Sue, Vita Vea, them working together real well together is just going to create more opportunities for the rest. Okay, these guys are just two absolute dominant beasts, and sure, I guess, Vea hasn't racked up a ton of sacks. Obviously, we got Shaq Barrett, the sack king. But it's not what he does kind of himself. It's what he kind of allows the rest of his teammates to do to get those opportunities to get the sacks, to get those opportunities to allow pressure. He's a beast, both of them. Sue and Vea, both absolute beasts. And, whenever they both work real well, everyone kind of hops along. They find opportunities to kind of, step up and apply pressure as well to whoever the quarterback is. So making sure or having Sue and Vea work real well together, and both of them making sure that they're kind of playing real well and they're healthy and everything like that. That's going to be really important because again, you never know what goes on, what they have kind of up their sleeve, what how they want to approach this game. With offensively, obviously being that we are very dominant on the run defense, so maybe they resort to the passing, and if they do, it's things like these that are going to kind of allow Hurts to be more contained. Because okay, yeah, sure, listen, yeah, Sue and Vea, both big guys, not the fastest guys on the field. But now just imagine, oh my gosh, look at that. What a beautiful opportunity or little kind of hole that Vea or Sue created for someone like, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka or even Devin White. And because of that, now, we can succeed. We're getting to them. We're pressuring them. And in fact, sometimes some of these hard hits really bang up the quarterback. So I'm thinking, not that I want Hurts to get injured, but if we create these opportunities for a lot of our guys to attack Jalen Hurts, it's going to affect him mentally because now he's thinking, oh my Lord, I got
It
these
will be a
big
long day
guys.
for sure.
Oh, it's going to be a long day. He's going to be praying that his O line uh, does the best they can or just does whatever, even if that means just grabbing the dude and just dragging him back, do what they got to do. Because if I'm Jalen Hurts, I am scared. This is the playoffs time now, Stefan. And we got Vea and Sue both, got a lot of experience under their belt now. They know what they need to do. They're both amazing players. And this is go big or go home. I know every single one of our Buccaneers is thinking that. I'm sure same thing as well for the Eagles. But, you know, knowing that this is it, Stefan, I'm sure our D line is going to be extremely dominant. They're going to be fired up. They know what they need to do. They've been so hot, even during our interesting games we've had, like against the New Orleans Saints the last time we played them. Our
My
defense did
God.
phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. So, for that reason, this shouldn't be an issue. And I think that the little Suvea duo will create more opportunities for the rest of the guys. But I also want to say that on top of creating more opportunities for pressure, my little thing that I'm thinking of is okay, well, if we're gonna create pressure and maybe Hertz has a little bit of a time to do something, and obviously he's looking a little bit more eyes on Smith, but maybe oh no, oh snap, obviously our legend Carlton Davis has got him locked up. Well, I hope he doesn't kind of resort to his second kind of receiving leader, and that's Dallas Goddard. Just because, I mean, look, Goddard's a big dude. He's dominant. It's kind of just like I guess, the battle of the tight ends between Gronk and Goddard. Both big dudes, both dominant, and I mean, just being that they're tight ends, it's a little bit harder to stop them sometimes for whatever reason. And especially if you're kind of the smaller guy, if both Gronk and Goddard got height advantage over a lot of these dudes on the fields or whoever's going to be covering them. So I just hope that it doesn't kind of turn out to be kind of like a little Goddard versus Devin White battle or something like that, because I'm trying to imagine how ugly or how pretty that's going to be. But then again, I mean, hey, same thing goes for Gronkowski as well. All right. All eyes are on him just because he's had beautiful connections. Especially when he comes back, it's always like, nothing ever really happened. He's always looking real good. So this is just going to be the battle of the tight ends, containing Gronk versus containing Goddard. And it's just going to come down to, all right, well, who is going to pick up on those kind of cues a little bit better? Personally, I think that Hurts is going to be looking at Goddard more than Brady would be looking at Gronk. Not that they don't have any special connection. It's just naturally because now you're thinking, all right, well, if Davis or anyone else who's going to be helping Davis out knows that we got to lock up their star receiver Smith, then maybe someone might be left open for a bit or something like that, or maybe someone like Goddard may have some opportunities. But we got to make sure we pick up on those ASAP. Sure, yeah, you might get a catch here and there. That's part of the game, but making sure that we're containing guys like him as well is really important, but also making sure that Gronk is doing real well. He's catching his passes. He's doing a little bit of both, blocking and catching. That's going to be important. We need Gronk now more than ever. We got Godwin out, and just kind of with overall the injuries we've been dealing with. No more AB as well. He is definitely one of our more stars now. Spotlights on him as well. So my eyes are going to be on him for sure because I also will be wearing my Rob Gronkowski jersey in honor of his touchdowns in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. But that's really about it for me. Those are my kind of keys to victory. I guess maybe the last thing is just that the rush defense needs to be ready no matter what, no matter who it is, no matter what injuries we have, whether that be, Anthony Nelson and, Nacho coming in for, however long they need to be there. This is really, really important because, especially with the weather, as you mentioned, Stefan, if it turns out to be like that, it might be a little bit more run heavy. And yeah, the rush D needs to be there for sure, no matter what, because listen, it's playoffs. We can't afford to screw around no more. And I will say though that I am feeling a lot more optimistic because I'm trying to take advantage of these opportunities, or I guess these moments where injuries and COVID protocol happens. That these depth pieces or these backups have to step up and they kind of get more experience because you never know when they might need it again. All right, so I'm thinking, okay, listen, we got our starters right now. But if I'm Nacho or if I'm Anthony Nelson, I'm thinking I better be darn ready for sure as well. Because I know I'm going to be getting some playing time because I've been doing solid. So every single one of those guys better be ready for sure because it's going to be a huge team effort for sure. And no way that only one or two guys can have a really good game. It needs to be every single one of them.
I agree with you. I think that those are very important keys to victories. I would agree more. I would tend to agree big time on the rush defense needs to be ready because that's a very good running football team, and I agree with Sue and Bader. It's important. The battle of the tight ends will be fun to watch, but defensively we got to be able to stop Musaab, and that's a great valid point. So that being said, this week in Musaab, we won't be doing Mr. Fantasy because fantasy's over. So how about Mr. Breakout for this week? I'm gonna go with Devin White, Musaab. I think he'll come out of this 2-game slump he's been in, especially if Levante's a go. I think we'll see the version of Devin that we saw last year in the playoffs. So I'm gonna go with 7+ tackles and a turnover somehow. How about yourself?
My breakout player is probably going to have to be Carlton Davis, just because of his role or the importance of his performance this upcoming Sunday. Honestly, there's been a lot of talk that's been going on, about Hurts and Smith, that little connection that they have. So making sure that we don't allow that connection to happen, I think is super, super important. If these guys get hot, it could be very, very ugly. So I got a lot of high hopes, and I'm feeling very optimistic for Carlton Davis. I think he's going to ball out. I think he's going to do a phenomenal job. But I also think that because of him or his presence, I think other things are going to work out as well in the DB unit. Listen, the more kind of veterans, the more experienced guys we have back on the field, Steph, and I feel like the better we do. there's these small things that don't come with speed or strength. It comes with the vision, all right, the knowledge, all right. So Carlton Davis is phenomenal, and he has the knowledge. He knows what he needs to do. He's got the speed and the strength as well. He knows how to, play his cards right. Now, will he play his cards right? I guess we'll find out ourselves this Sunday, but he knows what he needs to do, and he's going to be my breakout player. I think he's going to ball out. I think he's going to have a great game. It's not something people are going to be thinking about too much in the beginning, but we're going to be looking back. Hopefully, we're going to be looking back and saying, wow, we contained Smith, and because of that, Hurts kind of got thrown off. And long story short, it turned out to be very ugly for the Eagles.
I would love it. I love how we both went defense this week. That's huge. We know what this game means. We need him to show up, and then that's kind of what we're aiming for. So that being said, Musaab, let's move on to our favorite segment here, game predictions. Musaab, this week, it won't be our last week of football. I'm going 31-13 this Sunday. I think we have too much firepower for them on offense, especially with playoff Lenny and Gio back. Plus, our defense will stop the run. I truly believe that. You don't finish third because you suck at it. You finish third because you're really good at it. And defense wins championships. So I think we're going to be able to stop him, and we'll get that dove at home for the first playoff game at Ray J in 14 years, and I absolutely have no doubt about it. So I'll pass it to you.
My score prediction is going to be 28-10. All right. I think it's just going to be a little bit more closer. I think we're going to be running away with the win. This is definitely not going to be our last week of football, but it's all really going to come down to, things like, how are the replacements for people like Brown and Godwin? Are they going to show the same kind of chemistry with Brady during this quick passing game? Because, against the Eagles rush, Brady's going to have to get the ball out fast. So when it comes to points wise, we're going to have to make sure that, the chemistry along with the O-line and running backs is also there with the replacements for Brown and Godwin. This is going to be really important, and I think that I'm going to be putting more kind of, I guess, maybe more interest in the defense because I really want to make sure that they don't score at all. I'm not worried about us scoring. I'm not worried about our offense too much. The running back's going to be a little interesting scenario to see how playoff Lenny comes back into our unit and how he plays, after being out for a bit. But minus that, I don't have any super big concerns, at least as to how much we will score. I mean, I don't think we're going to completely run them over, and it's going to be sunshine and rainbows, TDs left and right. But I will say, though, we got the leader in quick passes this season and also the legend. He's the GOAT, and he knows what he needs to do. Stephan, I guess the overall thing is I have a very good feeling we're going to win this game. That's why I said 28-10, and it's just because it's playoff times. No matter whatever happens with the offense, it's going to be good. But what I will say is it's very important, and I think that it will be there. The phenomenal defense will be there for sure.
Hey, I would agree, Musaab, and look at that. We both agree that we'll win by 18 points. That was not planned. But here we are. That being said, thank you, listeners, for another great week. We really appreciate you guys. We hope it's not the last one for us in the playoffs. If you could follow us at RBLR Sports on all the social media platforms, we would love to hear about you. Comment, like, whatever you guys do, we'll be there. And if you could like and subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube, you name it, we got it. We really appreciate that. Listen, I'm expecting Ray J to be loud. I hope that for those who can't attend, the TV sounds pretty loud. I'll be there. It'll be pouring, but you guys will definitely be hearing me cheer. And that being said, go Bucs, Musaab, and I'll leave you with the last words here.
All right, ladies and gents, round 2 is back, but it's going to be more of an entertaining round 2 than the last little round 2 fight we had against the Carolina Panthers. The time has come, ladies and gentlemen. The post-regular season is here. The encore performance led by Brady and the boys is here. And for that reason, let me tell you this. If you made it through this season, well, you obviously did because we are the Buccaneers. We are in the playoffs. You have something a lot of people don't. You're still fired up, ready for one hell of a postseason. And a lot of people woke up on Monday knowing that their team season is over, that they couldn't make it, but we did. We, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, did. Our boys in pewter are ready to run it back. 1 p.m. this Sunday, ladies and gents. It's go big or go home. It's time to grab all the popcorn, the pizza, the beer, whatever you want. It's time to ball out, have some fun with it. And you know what? If you want to, go bless your family and friends. Get some RBLR threads. We are at shop.RBLR Sports as well. So feel free to rack up some threads as well. We got it all. You want to rep a jersey? Great. You want to rep a tee? Great. Just make sure you are bringing all the energy and excitement, because this is really it, you know. Thank you to all of our listeners who've been with us from the beginning, and now the serious stuff, the big fun really begins now. So more than ever, I hope you're fired up. I hope you're ready, because I am, and I know the boys at RBLR are for sure. So thanks again, listeners, and as always, go Bucs.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.